Okay, I'm continuing to refactor tests. So in the previous video I was just in the middle of writing this function here, which aims to get rid of all this messy counting calls to figure out that I've got what I expected. And so instead I'm replacing it with something simpler where I can just say call in order this, and any number of functions. And so that should return a callback. So that's what I was in the middle of doing. So I've got my callbacks that I've been given. I haven't specified anything in here because I'm not actually using them by name. I'm using the arguments local variable that's provided. And so now I've got myself a callbacks object. So apparently calling slice on an array, I'm using .call. This is the first argument, is just this, I believe. So if I make an array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and slice it with no arguments, because there's nothing, just return the array itself. So that's interesting. So that's all that's happening here. That's not a real array, but it's turning it into a real array just by pushing it through one of array's methods. So I've got an array of callbacks. What I want to do is just return a function, and that function is my callback. And it needs to know what it should call. So what I'm going to do is I've got my callback. So this will create a closure with callbacks available in it, and I also want to have the calls 0. So now calls will also be available in this closure that's created by this function. And so then whenever this is called, it will be doing calls plus. So this is going to be executing the same logic as I've got here, basically, except it'll happen more generically, and it'll be I won't be putting that logic in line with my test code and repeating it. So now I guess I want to check that. Well, actually, what should be the behavior if it's called more times than you want to? So basically, if you specify 2 things and it gets called 3 times, I think that it should call the last thing multiple times, because that makes it easy to put like a default for every subsequent call. Which, if you want that to be an error, then you can just insert an error in there. So calls after the final argument. Once all callbacks have been called, subsequent calls run call the final callback. Callback. This could be used to specify default or trigger an error condition. There we go. So basically what we want to do is see, this is going to give me calls value of 1, and the index is going to be 0 the first time. So 1, 0. So if calls is strictly greater than, hang on, let's see if I have 2 arguments and calls is 2. Yeah, calls is greater than callbacks to length. Then I just want to call callbacks one with the arguments. Figure out the syntax for calling that with an array of arguments, because that's what I'll need to do. So I need to get the args. Equals. I'm just going to do the same thing here. Set a separate function here, so it'll have different arguments object. And so now I've got args. And general function. So call or apply. Calls a function given this value and arguments provided as an array. I know what I want this to be. It's probably going to be whatever this got passed in. So whatever this is inside the callback that I'm returning, that's what I want to use. So that should be a function dot apply this, and make sure that's right. Calls a function given this value and arguments provided as an array or an array-like object. Okay, now it's saying an array-like object, so I think that I can actually just pass along the arguments without converting them to an array. So now this is the special case for when we've gone over the number. Let's do the normal case first. So if calls is less than or that's not quite. It'd be nice to just be able to plug calls straight in without having to do the -1. The other thing is calling it index, which is so nondescript. So if calls is less than the callback length, so let's say 2, calls was less than 2, then it will call it with basically that. to 0, because that'll be 1, increase it to 1, so 1 minus 1, 0, second time. That'll be 2, so it would, I'm just running through my head what will happen if I've got two arguments to make sure that it makes sense. So 2 is not less than 2, so it'll run index 1, which is fine, and then there's 3, that'll be less, so it'll run 2 minus 1, which will be index 1, which is fine. Okay, so that should work. The other thing I can do is move calls down to the end of here, so that it happens after, and then I can just use calls in here, but then calls would not here represent the number of times that it's been called. So, it's less semantically meaningful. So that should work, I think. Let me see whether it does. So where's the place I wanted to replace it? So call in order, returns the callback. Now we've got a function that takes text and asserts that text is equal, and another function that takes text, asserts it's equal, and then says it's done. And I'll make sure I'm right here, so that's that's all the stuff that I want to get rid of. I think I need to get rid of that curly brace as well. So we've got that matches that, that one matches that. Okay, that should be right, I think. Time to run it. Seems like I did something right. That's nice. Now I'll just take this other place where I'm doing the same. I don't need that equals 0. So get rid of there. Let's run that to the next line. That's a bit long. Done. The indentation's a bit messy, but extract text like that. And instead of this function, call in order the following. One, and then another function. In that case, it's getting pretty windy here. I don't know if you can hear that on the recording. Sounds like someone's trying to huff and puff and blow the house down. That stayed up so far, so it's all good. I can keep on recording. Right, so let me just make sure my syntax is right here. So I've got that, this function, text done, just got there, and I extract text, get that indentation a bit better. I don't think I've actually closed nested inside extract text. Maybe I'll try putting that in line there. See if that makes it a little neater. It's all messy either way. I can even make that one completely comment line. Don't know if that makes it readable. That function and this function. Just a little complex. Don't do that. I think I've got this turned on to show me a line. And we have some helper lines at about 72 characters and about 80 and at 100 just to give myself an idea about how long I'm getting my lines easily, because I mean, you notice it especially when I've blown it up really big for the video to make it sort of clearer when you're viewing the video at a smaller resolution, but it's nice to keep lines reasonably short. So 80 or 100 characters, so people using various different editors, to be able to view the code side by side in two panes. I don't know if it's helpful when I'm going on about stuff like that, just random little advice things. Okay, what have we got? That's matching that. What does this match? I don't think this matches anything. That matches that done function. So I'll just indent that the same. That's for that extract text. That's messy, but let me just run that and see what explodes. No syntax errors. I must have done it right. So, is that better than before? It seems a little less daunting to read. The function where we extract text doesn't need to be indented quite so far. Just do that. Spaces indent. Extract text in order. Two functions that take the text. Could even make another helper function that takes text and asserts that the text equals something, and then you just give it an array of text or something. But that's starting to get a little bit too meta. I don't think it makes it readable. Okay, so that's a handy little thing that I could really extract to a separate module. Yeah, I might as well do that. So, it can end up getting its own tests, but for now, let me just make a new file. Order.js. Grab that. Put it here. And that's what I called it. So now I'm going to want to import it. Why is that still working even though there's no comma? So a bit not sure whether I want to use semicolons or not. So it's valid to underline in semicolon in JavaScript. It's also valid not to, and it basically puts them in for you, but it can get it wrong. So this is in fact going to be going to insert extract text. So I'm going to go out of that into lib and then import colon order like so. And now I want to export that. Exports is a function. It's named colon order. You could make this anonymous, but it's okay to name things. These will show up with the name in a stack trace. Okay, that may still work. Good, it does. So it's nice. I could write some tests for this. I won't write them right now, so I'll add I'll add something in the issue tracker. New issue. Go and more tests. Have I done that yet? Not all of these things. I might actually just edit that and turn this into a checklist. So you go like this, space in there, and it'll treat it as a checklist. If you put an X, it'll treat that as something now. Text is extracted properly. I think I've done that. So that'll demonstrate. So now I've got this checklist. I can just tick these things as I've done them. And which is nice. Right, so I've made a note to test that. And here are my tests. That. Cool, so I won't get to make a commit comment that says that it closes an issue. But at least I've done something. Deleted extractation test, and it's just moved extract text to there, and get section to there. So, test for extract test text. Words are too similar, confusing for my brain. Let me just expand all of these and see. They look fine. So good. Added mocha as a dependency. I could do that as a separate commit. Which, yep, if I decided I wanted to revert my test, my specific test for this module, yeah, I could. I really don't want to commit that yet. It's just empty. Then yeah, I could do that as a separate thing. So I might do that. I might just have this package.json change, which is just saying, yep, add tests, and get rid of the other changes for now. So add mocha, and set up test config, testing and config. So last npm test. There we go. This is a nice commit. Just typing that. Sorry, just typing that in my notes for the video so that I keep track of which minutes I made in which video more easily. So that's one, and then the other, where, so let me see, I need in order. Yep, that can stand on its own, so I'm going to call in order, module, that should be enough to make a commit. And now, I guess this get extract text is the one that I tested, so I've moved it to there. It should be identical since I didn't change them. And I have added a test file. Has that to do, but that's okay. I do want to leave that there as a reminder later, in case I want to change the behavior. And it has a test, so and tests for extract text. And this is the module directory. Test file. That will do. Done. And everything else I've done is basically just creating a sort of stub test thing, which I don't want to commit. It's not useful. And that's all about moving that, which I'll basically do commit that when I add tests for it. Which, even though I'm not using it right now, it's still fine to add tests, I think. Then when I come to use it later on, it's working. So that will do for this video. It's about half an hour, so I think I've got one about the right time that I was aiming for. I'll now sync those changes. Sync failed. Seriously, I can't sync with uncommitted changes. Well, that's really mean. I can too. I'll show you. Come on, start up. Push to origin, my master branch. Git push would probably just do exactly the same thing. I'm in the habit of specifying which remote and branch I want to push to, because I have projects that have multiple remotes and lots of branches, so it's easy to make mistakes if you don't just say, oh yeah, git push, and then suddenly you've pushed your work in progress thing into the main integration branch or something, and you really didn't want to. So, what do you think of that? I can, despite what you say, you silly thing. I don't know why they would do that. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to merge things together while you've still got something in your working tree. Oh wait, is it? I guess it wants to merge. It's because that sync button is overloaded with a bunch of different operations. Anyway, enough rambling. That'll do for this video, and I think I'll take a break and do some other things, and maybe come back to it later and do whatever else it is that I was going to do next. Probably checking off a couple of these other things so that I can close this issue. So, I haven't changed behavior, it's not worth publishing. At this point I'm just rambling. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.